Hello everyone, welcome again. In this video, I'm going to create a Spring Boot project from scratch. So this is a bug tracking system. Currently, I was working on it and I have implemented some basic things over there. But I'm going to show you first after running the application how the things are working, and then we'll start the development from scratch. Okay, so you will be easily understand how the things are working internally. How can we develop this kind of application? So I have started the server. It's running on my 8080, and let's say localhost 8080 bug tracking. That's it. So what I started, it's just a home page, basic home page where we have a sign up option and the line login option. Under the sign up, we can fill up some data. And when you hit the submit button, it will say registration successfully and the data is stored in my user table. That's it. So so we are going to start a new series of web development and Spring Boot from scratch. So what the technology we are using in this, we are going to use a simple Spring Boot for a backend, and for the front end, we are going to use JSP, JSTL, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and according to the requirement, we'll change it. And again, it will be a Maven project. And then, so let's just start. Let's create a new project. So I have already have this project and this workspace. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this server. I'm going to create another copy of this, and I will use something for a reference. So let me create another workspace here. So I'm just moving onto other workspace, and let's say I'm going to create a workspace with a name YT dev. So it means YouTube development. Okay, it does not exist. Check the path again. Okay, we have to create it. Sorry, YT dev. So I just create this, and actually I want this should be launched in a new instance. So I just create another instance of it. I'm using Eclipse IDE as a 22. You can use latest one as well. I just give that path here and I launch it. And for the backend, I'm using MySQL Workbench. And the database will be also MySQL. So you need to just wait because I'm going to run two instances of the Eclipse in my machine. Meanwhile, it's running. What the first step you need to follow? You need to go to the Spring Analizer. So Spring Analizer, you will get here start spring.io, and here you have to create a simple template of the application. This Spring Analizer will give you a simple template of a Spring project. So I'm going to select the technology here as a Java, and we need a Maven project. So apart from that, I'm going to select a stable version. Don't use this as snapshots while you're working on an application. Just always choose a stable version that will not create any problem in future. And here you need to enter the work tracking. So enter the name. So let's say I'm going to use com dot as a artifact. I'm going to use as a work tracking. And I always prefer to keep it in a small. So your final package name will be bug tracking. I'm going to add a YT here. So it means we are going to develop this project for YouTube, and we need a jar or var for bev. I'm going to use a Java 11. You can use 17, and later also we can change that. And if you want add any dependencies, you can add from here. But I will add it later because I have already have a bunch of dependencies over there. After filling up these details, you need to click a generate. So it will generate a simple project for you over there. And if you see here, we have this project, a zip object project. Just I'm going to open a folder here, and let's say I'm going to create a folder here as a YT YouTube Dev Spring Boot YT, and here I'm going to keep my this project. So I just extract it, click on the extract here. You can see it's the Spring Initializer will give us a simple template, empty template for the project. So now I'm going to import this in my Eclipse IDE. So this is the workspace where we are going to use it. So I just click on this import project. Also, you can go here, file, and go to the import project, select the option as a Maven, an existing Maven project, click on next, enter that URL of the path of the project and click on finish. Once you will do this, it will start the importing project and build some initial process, and then it will start. Now I'm moving into, until this process is happening, I'm moving into my existing project that I already developed. So here you will see we have some dependencies. So I am going to copy all these dependencies and going to build that and that copy. So don't be confused. Check here, we have a bug tracking here, and what we are developing from scratch, we have a bug tracking YT. Okay, so for a reference to save the time, I'm using this. So I'm just going to copy all these dependencies and I will try to explain all of them, like why we are using here. So I just copy this. So, and where I'm copying under the dependencies, take all the dependencies I'm going to copy, and I'm going to copy and going to add it here into my new project form.xml. If you see this pom.xml, you will see all the Java versions here, Spring Boot versions here, and some dependencies here, some basic dependencies. We have already listed dependencies, so I'm going to remove them. And under the dependencies tag, I'm going to add all these dependencies. When I did this, you will see once this project will build, you will see all the dependencies will be available here under the library section, and this you will see all the Spring dependencies are available here. Now we have some errors. Definitely, always don't afraid from the errors. Always try to solve them, understand the problem. So you will see we are getting error here, and the error is saying multiple markers at this line dependencies for MySQL are is missing. So if you see here, we are using runtime environment and Java version, so it's not able to find this dependency, the MySQL dependency. So what can we do to solve this? Just remove this dependency first. Okay, go to the Google, search for MySQL dependencies, Maven, open this official site of different repositories, ambient repository. Here, search any stable version. Let's say I'm going to use this at 030. Copy this dependency. I'm going to edit here. That's it. Now you will see. Now we are adding a specific version of that, so it will not give any error. Control Shift F for formatting all the things. So it's ready. Now let's understand what dependencies we are using. So we are using some basic dependencies of a Spring Boot like JDBC, JPA, starter, and many dependencies are there. Some tiles dependencies are there. Some Apache dependencies will be there. Mail, Lombok will be there, and some other. So what one of the important dependencies is the Lombok that you need to understand while we are using the getter and setter annotation that will help us to uh, identify those. Okay, after that, the next step we have pom.xml is ready. Now we'll create a simple package. Okay, we have a best package as a com.bug tracking YT. But here in my existing one, you will see we have a configs, controller, DAOs, GTOs, exception, form utilities. So let's quickly create all of them and then we'll move to the next step. So, ooh, okay, I'm going to keep it here. and just keep it a big out and here. So at the very next step, what I'm going to create a config one. So I just go to the new, right click here, go to new, go to package, create a first package and add the config. Always keep in mind the package name should be in a small letter. Okay, so the best package will be there. After the best package, we are adding are just config. And here, what I need another as a controller. So I'm going to add a CTL. Okay, CTL is ready. Now, what we need another one as a DAO that's going to handle our data access object. Okay, after that, we need a DTO. So let's quickly create all of these packages. So I'm going to create DTO, and another one is exceptions to handle the exception into the application. So we have exception now, forms, service, and utility. So we have now form, we have service, and I'm going to create another package as a utility. So this will contain our utility classes. Okay, so we have config here, and we have all the packages are ready now. So we can feed out the data in a while. But before that, what you need to understand, we have two till now we have two classes here. One is a this is a runner class. When you run this application, this class will be run. Another one we have an initializer. Okay, it's initializing our Spring Boot class. Another config, what we are going to do, we are going to configure our tiles file. So let me quickly copy this. First, I'm going to create a configuration class over there that will be implement our web configure. Okay, so what we can do quickly, I'm going to create a configure class. So it should be with this name. So I'm going to just create a class, simple class, and here I need to add a configuration. Yeah, that's it. So I just create this configuration class that will extend the web MVC configure that will be implements web MVC configure. So it will automatically follow this configuration. Apart from that, these are the one-time configuration, so we don't need to do again and again. So once we have done the configuration as Spring Boot, then we can smoothly work to develop the modules and the services and the controllers over there. And some initial things, what we need to do, we need to define this class as a configuration. We have to enable the MVC over there. We have to enable the auto configuration. And in case you are using the scheduler, you have to enable it. But currently, I'm not using it. So just keep it. So what I did, I just copy some annotations that will allow us to do the things in a better way. So I just import all these annotations. So these annotations are coming from this Spring Web Servlet config and other packages that we have already added as a Maven dependency. Now, in this class, what we need to add, we need to add some configuration for the resolvers. So where we have resolvers, so these are the resolver. First thing, I'm going to use it as a view resolver. I'm going to importing it from the web servlet, the URL, base URL, tiles view. Okay, that's it. Now, just understand, we to handle the view part, I'm going to use the tiles over there. So we are going to, in a while, we are going to create a file tiles.xml in our web folder. So this will, we are just configuring our tiles here and our view resolver here. Now, where exactly we need to add this? So we have a configuration ready. Now just go to the SRC And here we have created one folder under the bare web. We have created under the bare web resource, and that will contain over all the resources. If you see the architecture of new project, you will see nothing is there. We have just resource and bare web, and under the bare web we have nothing. So what I'm going to do, uh, I'm just going to copy this complete resource folder, and I'm going to add it here. So what this resource folder is going to contain right now, we have some CSS, we have some images and JavaScript. So for now, I'm deleting all of them because I'm not going to use it right now. But later we can use, so just keep it. So we have some simple styling on the seats are there, some style sheets over there. Okay, apart from that, we need some important things like a BayYNF folder. So what this BayYNF folder will contain, let me explain you once I will copy it. So let me copy this BayYNF over here under the BayWeb folder. Okay, I think we have BayYNF under the BayWeb, right? So we have one resource and we have one BayYNF. So in this payYNF, we have two types of folders. The best fragments, it means the common element of the application, like footer and header. And apart from that, we have a home page, login, and registration. And other file as a layout, we have a tiles.xml where we are going to exactly going to define the definition of our page. So, how we are defining our definitions of the pages? Here, let's understand and take example of home page. We have a home page and we are defining it as a name of a home, and we are giving the complete path of this home.jsp. So our home.jsp is available under the web body fragment, and here we have a home.jsp. So we have given the value as the complete path. So this styles.xml is contain all the definition of all our JSP pages. Now, how Spring Boot will know where this configuration is available? So here into the configuration, we are doing the same. We are giving a path of our tiles.xml. That tiles.xml contain all the definitions of the our JSP pages, and we are letting know here to Spring Boot. So this is the tiles configuration, and here you need to check all the files. That's it. And I think the basic application is ready. Now, apart from that, under the resource, we have a file application.property. This is empty file. Okay. What I need to add here? I need to add here a simple configuration of my Spring Boot application. So let me quickly add it. So what the first thing is there is a database URL. So we have bug tracking. Let's say I'm going to add a YT here. So it means we are going to create another database as a bug tracking with the name of bug tracking YT. If we have a question mark query string here as a create database, if is not existing, we are creating as a true. And the second URL, second parameter, we are passing the driver name, username of the database, password of the database, MySQL dialect, and the port number. So we can change the port here as well. And we are giving a context path. So let's say I'm going to give a context path as a YT and just going to update the URL here. So this time this will run on this YT. That's it. It's ready now. Okay, it's ready, but how I will check this project is working? So let's create a simple controller. So here I'm going to create a home controller with the name of home.cdl. Here we have a home page, okay, with the name of home.jsp. Just say bug tracking management, and let's say I'm going to give it a name as a bug tracking management for YouTube. So YouTube YT tutorial, right? And we have this definition. here into our tiles.xml. So, and the name of the tiles.xml is a home. Simple. So here, what we can say, this is our controller. This is our controller. And in this controller, I'm going to create a gate mapping. Okay. And this gate mapping will call as a home, as a simple home URL. And here I'm going to create a method, public string homepage, and it will return to my JSP page. And my JSP page name is home. So don't be confused. This JSP page is the same name that we have defined into the tiles. Let's say I'm going to give it a view. Okay, this will we will call as a API as a parameter, URL parameter, and this will return to the page. It will return on this home page. Okay, this home page definition is already we have given, like we are passing home here, and this is this same name. And when the Spring Boot hit this home value, it will redirect user to this home page. Now I just save it. Okay, now I just save it, and I'm going to run this application. So let's see. There might be any bug, but we are ready to handle. And currently, if you see the database, you will see only database with a name of bug tracking. There is no any database with bug tracking white. So I just going to right click on it, go to run as, and run it as a Java application. When I did this, the controller will like the will start the server. Spring Boot will start the server, and it will give us a method, a running application, which is running on the port number 8080, and the context path is this. Okay, so here I'm going to run this as a local host 8080, and the context path is bug tracking YT. Okay, when I hit enter, it's saying me there's no implicit mapping for this URL, but we have one mapping. If you see into the home page, we have this as a home view. So let me enter it manually. Okay, when I enter this manually, what will we say? It's a bug tracking management for YT tutorial. So we can keep it empty as well. And then if I enter nothing from here, then it will redirect me over the web. But when I click on the sign up, home, login, it's showing white label error because we didn't implemented these pages. So now let's quickly implement these pages. So currently we have a registration page here. So in this registration page, we have simple HTML code that's going to implement some simple values for last name, first name. Like we have fields like first name, last name, date of birth, genders, and other properties are there. Okay, so and apart from that, into the login, we have similarly login email and the password, and we have already defined the definition of these pages also here. And now, if I go here into the DAO section, what I need to create, I need to create a DAO for the user and DTO for the user, exceptions and the forms and the services and the utility. So I'm going to copy some codes from my previous project, and first just understand why we are creating DAOs, DTOs, and DTOs are the entities that we are going to create a beans that will help us to create a getter and setters. Under the DAO section, we are going to perform the database operations, and it will contain the JPA repositories. And under the exception, we will define some classes that's going to handle our exceptions. Under the form, we are going to binding these forms with our HTML pages. And we have services to write the business logic, utilities to perform the utilities. Now, quickly, I just move into my old project and I'm going to copy two classes from here, data utility and data validator, and I'm going to paste it in my new project. Okay, Now, if you see here, okay, I don't need it from the previous project, but from that we will keep it from new project. That will be our variety, right? Or if I remove this, it will not create any problem. And here, if I go and check add package, the blog YT utility, that's it. So now what this data utility is doing here and why I copied it. So it contains many methods that will help us to in during the entire project. The first thing we have some formatting. So let's say we have a standard format for the date in MMDDYY. So we are defining the static variables, dynamic variables over there. It also has some methods like get, date, and time. It will take a string as an input, convert a date in and time in a specific format, and send it to us. Okay. After that, it has the many methods like get integer. So this method will take a string as an input and um, convert that string into an integer and send a return value and get long. So according to the requirement, we can call these methods into our entire project. Similarly, we have one class as a data validator. Again, I'm going to import it from there. So I just save it, go here and add the package. So this validator is going to validate the data. So if you, for example, it has a method as a is name. Okay. So this is name will take a input as a string and check as a particular character name or not. If is there any digit in this mail format, then it will give an error. Okay. Similarly, we have is password, is phone number, is null or not, integer, is long. Many methods are there that's going to help us during the project development. Now, we have ready data utilities. So we will call these methods according to our requirement. Now, next thing, what I need to do, I just need to create a DAO session. Okay, let me create before DAO, we need to create a DTO. So I'm going to create a simple DTO. So DTO is also class that is called data transfer object. So I'm going to create a user and not STO. It should be user DTO. So here I'm going to use some annotation. The first annotation will be this class is an entity. Okay, so I create entity. Apart from this, we have a getter. So this will be a getter class, and also this will be a setter class. We can keep the table name as a table name as a user, right? Now we have some fields in our registration page. Okay, so this will be a class that will contain the fields. So in the same names, we are going to create some DTOs over there. So if you notice here, what are the fields we have on the registration page? We have a first name. So let me copy it on a notepad and then we'll quickly move there. So we have first name, fine. Why I'm copying it from there? Because whatever the name you are using over the front end and the DTO should match with them. So it will be easy to handle. So we have a DOB, means date of birth. We have a gender in a drop down. So we are going to use gender. Okay, after gender definition, we have a email. So this is name as an email. And after that, we have an email on a two condition, and then we have a password. So I'm going to use the password, and after the password, we have a phone number. Anything else? Nothing. After that, we have some. So we have these field on the registration form. I'm going to copy all of them. I'm just move to the DTO, and here I'm going to create a DTO. So I just keep it as a private string first name. Okay, and also this DTO will define our database. Okay, so what I need to do, I'm going to just create a column here, column and the will be column name will be, we can keep it the same as a first name. And here I'm going to pass a length of it. So length, let's say 75. So we have one field ready as a first name. Now let's quickly create similar kind of second field. So I'm going to just copy it and just copy it 1, 2, 3, vendor, email, password, phone number. Fine. I just going to replace this with first name, last name. That's it. And now we have a DOV. So I'm going to just keep it a DOV. But DOV type will be date. Okay, it will not be string. So let's import it again from Java util. After that, we have a gender. So I'm going to create a gender here. Again, we have an email. So I just keep it an email. Email and gender can be string, and the password can be string. Last one, we have a phone number that can be. We can add another as a user role. Okay, so we can define the user types and user roles over there. So we have user role here. So this user role we will use this user role to define the type of the user. So we have a database table ready as entity ready now. And now with the same parameter, we are going to create a form. So in this form, I'm going to create a class again as a user form. It will be user form. So in this user form, what we have again, this will be a data setter. So again, we have to create a data setter for this class as well. Okay, apart from that, what we need. Okay, I just forgot one thing. Let's create a quickly base GTO, and I'm going to create a base GTO, and this base GTO will be again a data setter. And why I'm using the get base GTO, I will let you know in a while. So let me create it quickly. This will contain the common property of all the beans or attributes. Let me show you where we are using it. So under the DTO, we have a best DTO. I'm going to just copy this all these things. Okay, that's it. So what we are using, ID from Java Expressist. Okay, we need this identity as well. We need a column as well. We need to generate value as well. Okay, so we have defined one element here, one parameter here, so there's an ID, and the column name is ID. And what will be the strategy? It will be a unique ID, and it will be generated automatically. While the new record will be comes into the database, it will automatically increase by 1. So here into the user DTO, what we can do for user table also we need a ID that we didn't define yet. So what we can do, we can extend the best DTO here. So this is a simple technique by which we can use the inheritance. Hope if you are aware with inheritance in Java. So that will give us an ID as well. Here also we can extend it into the user form. So extend best DTO type. Now we have again different. So I'm going to just copy the form from here, so it will save our time. So I'm just going to copy it, and I will make some changes definitely. So these are the first name, last name. We have defined the variables, and we have created user DTO, base DTO that will return the return type will be base DTO, and I'm going to create a user DTO. And let me explain you these things again, how we are doing this. So it will be easy doing that. Okay, just remove the override. So just simply, I have defined two methods over there. One is a get DTO, and the second is a populate. So what we are doing here, we are going to set the values of these parameters, and here we are going to populate the values. So how can we set? Already we have DTO. So what we are going to create? We are going to create an object of user DTO here. So this will be user DTO user, and we can say UDTO, simple DTO equals to new user DTO. Now this DTO will set first name to first name, right? DTO will set last name to last name, right? DTO will set DOB to DOB, not DOB. It will give an error. If I'm going to edit here, it will give me an error. Why? Because into the DTO, the data with date DOB is a type of date. So what we can do at this time, we will take help from data utility. So into the data utility, we already have methods that going to convert the data in one form to another form. So I'm going to create an object. I'm going to create a reference of our data utility here. So I just say data utility dot get. What we need here, we need a date. Like this, the DTO will accept only date type. So I'm going to get a date here, and this method get date one will take a string as an input and return a date type. So the same thing I'm doing here. And after that, we have a date dot set gender. So I just set the gender, and after the DTO dot set email. So email is there, DTO dot set password. So password is there, DTO dot set phone number. So one by one, I have all set all the values here, and it will return me a final DTO. And now here, let's create a reference of a user DTO as a argument. Now here we have set, and in the populate we will get the values. So we will assign the value as a first name equals to, this will be the DTO, just keep it as a DTO, and we'll say DTO dot get first name, and the last name equals to DTO dot get last name, and again we have a DOB. So DOB equals to DTO dot get DOB. Okay, but it's showing me error because this DOB is a type of a string, so we have to convert the type conversion. So data utility dot get a string. Okay, what we need here, we need a string from a date, and we just pass this date here. Okay, and after DOB, what we need a gender, email, phone, and phone number. So I'm going to take a gender equals to DTO dot get gender. And after that, we have an email. So email equals to DTO dot get email. And we have password here. So password equals to DTO dot get password. DTO dot get password. And after that, we have a phone number. So this phone number will contain DTO dot get phone number. Right. That's it. So we have populate ready. So it means we have complete form is ready now. And now, what we need to do, we need to create exceptions and DAOs and utilities. For the exception also, we have simple classes, so I'm just going to copy it from there. So I just copy this exception classes and I just put it here. I just paste it here. That's it. Again, it has a package issue, so can we adjust YT here? Might solve. No. Sometimes it takes recompilation, so just remove it while you copying the data from any other project. You can do like this. So it will auto solve the error. It will auto solve the error. Uh, Again here and to this, I'm going to do this. So in case of any error, in case of any exception, we will use this exception classes. That's it. So now we have to implement controller, DAOs, and services. So let's quickly create a user DAO. So what I need to create, I need to create as an interface and as a user DAO. Okay, here I'm going to extend JPA repository. We have already all the dependencies available into my form.xml, and here we are going to use the user DTO type, and what's showing, not showing the option user DTO, right? Okay, it should be have some methods. So this will return me database things, so database classes. So we can create some initial methods like find the user by email. So let's say I'm going to create a public user DTO find by email, and find by email. This will take up the string as an email. Okay, let me copy the user DTO from here. So user DAO from here. So it has some methods. These are the methods we have. I will explain you in a while what this method is doing here. So we have three methods here. We have defined three methods here. First one is find by email and password. So this method will take like this DAO is directly going to communicate with our database. Okay, so it will take it to string like email and the password of the user, and it will return the information of the user if user is available into the database. So here in JPA, we don't need to create a script or SQL queries. It has a predefined methods in a format, so you can read more about the JPAs. It will give you an idea. In case I want to find any user by email, so we have method find by email, and it will take input as an email, and it will return a user information as a user DTO. And again, we have a find by ID that will take ID as the input and return a like object of user DTO. So now we have a DAO ready, and let's quickly create a service and controller as well. So before controller, we need to create a user service. So I'm going to create a service here. So it will be our user service. That's it. And I'm going to give now I'm going to create a service tag here. And here what I'm going to use, I'm going to create a AutoWire object. And what object I need to do here? I need a DAO object because the service is communicate with database. So I want to use the public user DAO, and let's say we can say user DAO. So we have user DAO. Again, let's create a method that will be public add user. Okay, this will register our user. And what this method will return? This method will return. Currently, let's just keep it void, and later we'll see what it can be returned. Okay, so we have a method here, and this method will take a user DTO as an input, user DTO, user as an input. And now in this DAO, we have save method, and here we are going to import the entity of the user. Okay, so this will save our data into the database. Currently, we are not returning anything from here, but we can return some checks or whatever the return things will be there. Let's say I'm going to return this only and change the type of return method as a user DTO. So it will just return a user DTO. Okay, and that's it. So we have service ready. Next thing, we have to move into the controller, and let's create quickly a user controller. We already have a home controller, but for the user, I'm going to create a separate controller. So here I'm going to use a user CTL, and this will be our controller, right? And this controller, what I need to do, I need to auto-wire some service. So public, public, and what I need a user service here, user service, a user service, and I'm going to create a mapping as a get. No, let's create a method that's going to save our data. So public, public, and this will also return a string because we are going to control this, going to send this response to our which page on our registration page. Okay, nice. So string void, no, sorry, not a string void. We can keep a name as a save. That's it. So this same method. Also, we need to pass some parameters here. I will let you know in a while. So get mapping, and it will come as a name of a registration. Let me check exactly from where what the name will come. So here, if I go to my registration page, you will see during the form submission action, it will send a request to add user URL, and the method will be post definitely. So what I need to do, we need a post mapping because it will come as a post. Okay. Okay, I need to just import it again. Post method and the URL will be this add user. That's it. And where we need to return the response, we need to return the response on this registration page. So I'm going to return it here, right? That's it. Okay, if we here, what we need some responses. Let me show you the format. Okay, what checking into the controller. We have a user controller, where it is, where it is, where it is. Under the controller, user controller. So we are going to use a model attribute to form the form and the model. So I just use this model attribute and what kind of form is there? It's user form. So it will implement. That's it. So while we add this model attribute form user form, it means we are trying to bind this user form values the data, first name, last name, all the things with this registration form. All the values are available with the same name, first name, last name. So we are exactly going to bind it over there. So let's move to the user controller again. And if you want to return any message, what we need a model. So I'm just going to add a model name as a model. Where it come? This model is okay. Yeah. So let's say what I need to do here, I need to create call a method. So let's say user service dot, we have created a method here, add user, and this will take an input as a user DTO. But where we have a user DTO, we have this user form. We have all the data in this form that is coming into the save form. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a user DTO here, object of user DTO as a user, and we are going to call the form dot populate. Okay, we can populate the data from where. So let me copy it quickly from there. If I have something, we have add user here. We are doing the binding user DTO being get DTO form dot get DTO. Yeah, we can do this as well. So, okay. So what we are doing here, user DTO, user equals to form dot, we have one form dot get DTO, right? And it will return a best DTO definitely. I'm just going to write it as user user. So what is doing the complete data, whatever user going to fill in this registration.jsp, it will come to this form, and we are going to populate this form to get DTO. It means that where what our get DTO is doing, our get DTO, where is the DTO? To the user form. To user form, we have a get DTO, which is going to set all the values to this field. Okay, after that it will populate and perform other operations. So here into the user DTO, under the user control, what we are doing, we have all the data now in this user, and we are going to pass this to our user service, and user service will pass this data to other user DTO. Okay, and here after this registration, what we can do, we can send a message to front end. So model dot add attribute, and I'm going to add a name as a user. I'm going to add a name as a success. Currently, I'm not handling error or try catch. I will let you know in a while when we implement this in more detail. So user is registered successfully. I just said a message. Okay. Now I think everything is fine until we'll not check the validation. So we will, this is not enough for a controller. We have to add the proper use to try case, and we have to check in case user is already exist or not. So many implementation are there. But for today class, for today's session, I'm going to just going to finish it now. So just let me quickly run and check the output. Is it working fine or not? So I just refresh this. I just run the project. And here, if you notice into the business messages, what we are doing in case of success message, we are showing success message, and in case of error message, we are showing the error message over there. And so this same message will be implemented here as a business. We have implemented, we have include this file here as a business message. But if you see, I can see there is some error. So no identifier specifier for user DTO. That's good. Okay. Wheel. Entity manager, class identifier, resources. Okay, it doesn't able to find identifier for this user DTO. So let me check the user DTO first. Into the user DTO, we are extending the base DTO, that's it. Okay, let me quickly check the base DTO as well. So we have ID generator, identity, that's it, all the things are there. Okay, we have to define it as an entity. Okay, it should be in it, right? Let's quickly run it again. Save all the files. This time it should be done properly. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, while I'm running it, okay, it's started on termped at 080. Now go to the property, and we have created one URL here. Just copy this URL. I think it's already running. And you can see. Okay, so when I run this, when I refresh this, it's showing me a home page. That's correct. When I click on the sign up, it's again giving this error. When I hit the login, it's giving me error. Okay, no problem. So into the from header, what we are doing from the header, we are passing these parameters, these API parameters to call those pages. So here, what I need to do over the user DTO, before submitting form, we have to load this form. Okay, so I'm going to create a quick method here to get mapping, and that will take input as this registration. And let's say this method name should be public, and what we can say string, and we can say registration page, and again it will just return to registration. So we are not doing that much here, just keep it as a parameter validation. That's required, that's it. So when user will click on this registration form, when user will click on this registration link, it will redirect to user this registration page that we have defined as JSP. So now if I click on this, okay, now if I click on this, it's redirecting me. Similarly, for the login, we have to do this thing. So currently, I'm not creating a separate controller for the login. So just I'm going to create a controller here for the login. Into the header, I can check the parameters that the API call that I'm passing. So here, by the login, I will call this, and we can name it as a login page. Okay, and after that, where it should be redirect, let me check the definition for it. So it's login only. Din, 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 din. We have to move to the user controller, and I just pass the login. That's it. Now, if I hit the login, it will give me the view of login page. So home is ready, sign up is ready, login is ready. Now, we didn't implement it yet, the code or services and the controller for the login, but we have implemented add user for the registration. So let's quickly register and check, are we able to see this message? Okay, so I just fill up some dummy data, click on the submit button. You can see user is registered successfully. That's great. So if I refresh my database, you will see the new database here. Currently, I just close it. You automatically, one database is created by Spring Boot, the DTO that we created. The name is work tracking YT, and just minimize this. Under the table, we have base DTO as a name. Okay, that's it. And the name is like base DTO D type. Okay, role is coming as a null right now, and other details are there. So we did some mistakes. So let's improve it. So under the base GTO, we have entity. That's okay. The column name is ID. That is also okay. And the user DTO, we have given name as a user table name. That's good. And here, while we entering the user controller values, we have to set, okay, we can set it user dot set user role as a admin or user. Let's say currently I'm using as a user. This time the value should not be null because we are going to set it on a value. So I just submit this Lona, and I can see the user DTO D type is showing me is like this user. Yes, I did. But if we see, we have creating a weird column as a D type. So why is happening? Because it's created earlier. So while you working with a running server, this problem you will face. So what you need to do, just drop the table, just drop the table. Okay, rerun the application, rerun the server. It will automatically create a fresh and correct uh, data format for you, because I was working on the DTO at the same time my server was ready, so automatically it's created tables in that format. Hopefully it will fix. I'm not sure. So when I run the application, I refresh my database, the base DTO is again created, and we have D type and other things over there. Okay, I have to check why it's coming, but that's not an issue now, because in this another base GTO we have this. Okay, we can map it as a super class, not a separate entity. That's the thing. Let me quickly check it. So I just mapped it as a super class and not going to create any different entity. I think it will solve. I'm just going to drop it again, drop this table, and now it's already rerun the project. I just stop it, refresh, right click, rerun. Mm. So this is the development from scratch, and I'm trying to make it very faster because I'm using sometime the previous build code. But if you want to learn it from scratch, you have to spend a lot of time over there. And I think the video is also going too long, but it will take time. Like nobody can do anything. Now you can see the table user is created. The table is created with the name of user, and it has a definitely all the parameters that we've defined as a DTO. And now let's quickly fill up the details and submit it. And you will see the message successful and the data over there. Okay, role as a user. Okay, so see the records over there. So now what's the issue? Let's suppose I'm going to Nicole, I'm going to fill up and register with this user same user again. So it's again going to register, but duplicate, it's storing the duplicate emails. That should not allow. Even if I enter nothing in this field, it will give a registration. So it's showing it's storing a null value. So it should not allow. So how can we add these validations in Spring Boot? And in this session, we are going to cover these things. So let's start. And I'm going to closing my other IDs. Okay. So here, first thing for that, I have need to go to the user form section. And here, what I need to add, annotation node empty. And the message will be here we can say first name is required. Okay. Similarly, for all other fields, we can say similar kind of message as first name is required. For email also we can say. For password also we can say, and the phone number. So just change the first message. So here we need to say the phone number is required. So I say phone number is required. Here we can say the password is required. So first we are giving a null. So we are adding a constraint here for the null values. Okay, in the form section. After that, we will just bind it and it should work. Okay, the last name, just change it as a last name. So changes are done into the form, and here this constraints are coming from this validation dot constraint package. And here the next changes we need to do into the controller section while we adding the data. So where we adding the data, we are adding the data here. Here, the first thing what I need to do, I need to check uh, binding. So binding result, and we can say binding result. First, I'm going to add a try catch, and then we'll continue this. So try catch. And here we can say we have one exception that we handling record not found exception. So here we have this exception record not found. And in this exception, we will add some checks right away in some time. First, we have this binding result. So what this binding result going to do, whatever the data is coming from the runtime, it will bind the data with this form and validate all the data here. So we'll check if this binding result has errors. In this case, it will return to that same page and show those errors. Else, into the else part, we are going to perform this operation. Okay, that we performed yesterday. So If there is no error, then it will add the data to the database. Okay, here what we can say, we can add the model as an error, model dot add attributes, and we can add some errors if in case of any error. We can say add attribute, and here the message will be error, and we can say e dot get message set fine. And also we can add e dot print stack, so it will print the error message. In case of any error, it will give us a message. Okay, apart from that, is anything is missing? Okay, here we need to add a tag as a valid. So the tag will be valid. Okay, capital B. We can say from the validation, we can call this valid. Okay, that's it. Let's try to run it now. I think the changes are done, and when I go here, the sign up page and click to the submit, it's showing me error, right? And what we are doing, we have to keep it in the first argument before the model, because model is sending a response, right? Think this time should work. When I refresh the page, we submit, that is fine. That's showing me down the messages. And if I trying to fill up this form as a uh, blank page, it's showing me the first name is required, and the for the other fields last name is required, and for the email also we can add. If the user is not going to add any email, it will say email is required. For the password also, they say password is required. So in this way we can add the checks over there. Now, but let me walk through what we have done till now. So what we have done, into the user form, we have added the constraints, and then into the controller section, we have created a binding results object, and that we have checked the results. If there is an anything error and it has any error, then it will return to the page and show that errors. Now, we have to add one more check for the duplicate emails, like duplicate users should not be registered. Let's say currently, if I fill up this form and I registered with this, so this is my email and it's registered into the database, if you notice here. And but if I register with the same user again, it will register. Okay, so that's not a good thing. So what we need to do, we need to add a check over the email. If user is already exists, then it should not allow to register that user again. Okay, so for that, here we are adding the data, and in this add data, we are in the service class and user service. Yes, at the user service, we are adding this data. So we can do here one thing. Into the DAO, yesterday we have created, and last session we have created methods find by email. So this method will be useful now. So let's create user DTO, one user DTO, user DTO, UDTO equals to, what we are going to do, we are going to take user DAO, we are going to take the help of user DAO, and we are going to talk to the database and find a email, find the user information by its email. And from where this information will come, from this user object. So user dot get email. Now, if this email will be available into the database, then it will give us a valid result. Otherwise, it will give a null value. And when we need to add the data, in case of null only. So if user DTO equals to null, then we can save this. We can fire, we can call this method. Okay. Otherwise, then we can define another user DTO as a null. User DTO is okay. We can say user DTO equals to null, and going to assign this value, and this going to return from here. right? Okay, if null, it will save. Otherwise, else it will throw new, no, sorry, new. We have one exception, record not found. So we can technically there should be a technically there should be a method, there should be exception, record not found, but we are duplicate exception. But we have one in our exception, record not found. So I'm using this one to pass a message. So this message will say email is already this email is already registered, right? Okay, now I think it's good. And into the controller section, we are going to use a try catch. Yes, do the try catch. We will get this message as a error in the get message. We are handling the exception. That's fine. Let's try it now. So I'm going to try to register with the same mail, and it says didn't not return a unique result. Okay, fine. So because we have this duplicate records over there, so I'm going to just drop my database for now, or I can delete some records, then I can use, but I'm just going to run it first. So I just drop it. And why we are getting this error? Because we have duplicate data and data in a wrong format in our database. That's why it's creating problems. So I'm going to restart my server, so it will create database again in a correct form, and then we will continue. So I just rerun the server, and when I rerun the server, it's starting again on 8080. Actually, it takes times to start. Okay, let's just start it now. If I go here and run it again, sign up. Let's say I'm trying to submit a blank page. It's showing me a first name and this name is required. Let's say I'm going to add some data. So data is registered successfully. I'm going to submit the same data again. Then it says email is already registered. It's nice. If I check this, I have added data 2 times, but showing only once. Now, if I change this email, then it will save the data. User is registered successfully. Now, if I try to save this email again, say email is already registered. Even it's not allowing to add the duplicate record. So we have add the enough validations over there. Hope it will be helpful and understandable for you as well. And quickly move to the next step. And in this session, we are going to work on the login process. Okay. Yes. So we are going to work on a login, and we'll try to cover the logout as well. Okay, so let's quickly start. But before that, I will recommend you to watch the videos completely. And if you are not aware with the previous videos, I will share the link in the description box. So I will recommend you to go there and check those videos first, because you will be easily understand how we will done this setup till now. So first, I will recommend you to go and check the videos that previous recorded for this playlist, and then you will come on this. It will be easily understandable for you to understand the login process from now. Also, if you're liking this and if it's uh, really helpful for you, just please give one subscription, one subscribe, and just subscribe and take add a comment like whatever the feedback you have. So it will encourage me to build the to record these sessions like this session for the live development. So let's quickly start this session. So currently we have that login page here into the JSP. So what this JSP login page is doing here. So this is the front end design. So it's contained the HTML code, JSTL code, and the like a Spring binding. We are using the forms over there, Spring forms. Okay, so let me explain you quickly. when user will click on this login page. So we have just click here. So how this thing is coming here. So let me quickly recap. We are in the header section. So in the header section, we have one button login. So this is the same button, same li is showing here, right? You can see here. So when I click on this, you will see it's redirecting on the login sub URL. So it's trying to calling a get API, get mapping as a login. So you can see we are passing it here. Okay, so where is this? So this is available under our controller section. And if you see under the user controller, we have one get mapping with the name of as a login. And where we are redirecting when we are not doing anything, we just redirecting it on the JSP page. So where this definition is available, it's available into the times.xml. And when we call this login, uh, as a variable and it will return this page, and this page is a login.jsp, so it's showing completely this complete design over there. But when user will fill up this detail, this detail, username and the password, and hit the sign in button, the request should be go on the auth or somewhere. So how we can implement this thing? So if you see here, the form is going to start from here, going to end for here, and we have two fields over there, login email and the password, and a button that's going to submit. So this is the button. When user will hit this button, the form will be sent it to the auth request, auth mapping, and it will come into the post method. Okay, so let's quickly implement this in our controller. So we can create a separate controller as well, or we can continue the work into the user controller but I'm going to create a separate controller because it will not create any problem or any confusion. So here, right click on it, go to run as, and I'm going to create a class as a login CTL. So it will handle all of our process that we are going to use, all of our mappings into the related to the login process. So I just define it as a controller first. Then let me quickly copy one controller format. So I'm going to copy. Yeah, we need this. We need this. Let's copy this one, and we will do some modifications, obviously. So into the login controller, I'm going to go this, and what the URL we are calling from the login page, we are calling auth. So this is the auth. So I'm just going to copy it, go to login controller, just paste it here. So now if user will call, it will redirect on this page. And again, I'm going to remove this try catch and other blocks from here. Okay, now yeah, it's asking to return something. So let me return as a login. By default, I'm giving it a login as a return for like in case of any error, we will redirect the user to on the login page. Otherwise, it will be redirected to the welcome page. So we have to create a welcome page as well. So here we have a two condition. Okay, first thing, whatever the data is coming from the backend from the login page, that data will be come into this form, and then we will bind result and we have a binding result to add the validation, and then we will check the model thing. So let's say first thing, I'm going to check the binding results. Okay, so if we are calling the user form, so over the user form, we already have the checks constraint over there for email and password. These fields are required. So let's quickly do it. So if binding results dot has errors, in case it will return over the login page and will keep the messages as it is like that that is required or something. So again, we can do a try catch over here. Let me quickly implement a try catch, and here we are going to, we can say, we are going to implement this under this try catch. Okay, and I think that's it. So what we are going to try here, we are going to check the validations that I have implemented in the last session. So if you are not aware with the last session, just go and check that session. So you will be easily understand how things are working over there. So this time, this is going to redirect to the same as the same page. We are while we are when I click on this, it's redirecting me over the same page. And okay, if there is not an errors in this case, what we can do, we can else uh, we are going to perform a login operation. There will be two cases. If user is logged in successfully, means the username and password is matched, then it will be redirect to the welcome page. Otherwise, it will redirect to the login page with some error messages. I will implement that in a while. But before that, if I check in the DAO, so in the DAO, we have method here, find by email and password. We are going to use this method. Okay, under the user service, also we need to create one method as a auth. So I'm going to create a method as a auth or public, you can say, yeah, auth, or you can say login. So I'm going to create a method with the name as a login public, and it will also return a user detail, the information of the user that is logged in, and the name is login. Okay, and I'm going to pass a user DTO here, not user DTO. We can pass simple username, password, or user DTO. That's fine. So we are going to pass a user DTO. Let's pass it. And here, okay. And then we have user DAO. In the user DAO, we already have that method. So find by, sorry, find by email and password, and here I'm going to pass user.get email, user.get email, and user.get password, right? That's it. And what it will return? It will return user DTO. So if everything is fine, it will send the user DTO information, user DTO information of the user. Otherwise, it will give the error, or you can say the null value. Perfect. So we have that service method is ready. Now I'm going to back to the controller, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to call that service method. Again, we have to create a auto wired. We have to create an object of service here. Auto wired user service, and name will be as a user service. Okay, now here I'm going to call this user service dot login. Okay, here I'm going to pass this user form. So how can we call this user form? I'm going to copy this from user controller. We have this. So whatever the data coming from the front end, we'll call it as a under the DTO. So we have this user DTO. We are calling form.get DTO. So we'll keep all the information within this user, and we'll passing this user here. Now this user will be called to the service, then service will communicate with the DAO, and DAO will communicate with the database. And what it's going to return? So it's going to return again a user DTO. So let's say it's going to again return a user DTO here, and I'm going to keep a condition here. If user DTO equals to null, it means the user is not available into the database. It means if it is not null, then what we are going to do, we are going to create a HTTP session. I will teach you session later, but just redirect to the user. If not null, it means there is some information about the user. So what we are going to do, we are going to return this to welcome page. Okay, otherwise, else it will return to again on the login. In case of any error as well, it will redirect on the login page. Okay, and here we have one exception that we are continue handling, record not found exception. So let me handle this here. Let's say it's record dot one exception e. Let's say model dot add attribute attribute. Let's say error, and here I'm going to pass e dot get message. And after that, I'm going to create e dot print stack, so it will give a error on the console as well in case of any default. Okay, so we have done user video. We have all this. That's coming onto the welcome. We need to create this welcome as well. But before that, I think everything is looking nice. So let's go there and let's create quickly a welcome page. So I'm going to create another JSP page here. So on the JSP page, I just create a welcome. Welcome. Okay, that's fine. Welcome is okay. So here I'm going to print a simple message. Welcome to the user. Welcome user. This is welcome page. This is welcome page and coming after login. Okay. So we are going to see this message. But before that, we have to make entry into attach.xml for the welcome page. So let's quickly do it. So here I'm going to do it as a welcome page, and the name is always welcome. Okay, what should be the title? Title also we are going to keep the welcome page title, and here we need to pass the exact location of that welcome.jsp. So it's available into the web web fragment and welcome.jsp. Okay, now everything is fine. And let's go to the login controller. Let me quickly check. Okay, here if it is go to the welcome page, that's fine. But in case if it's written on the login page, what we need to say? We need to add a model attribute here. So we are going to set a model dot add attribute, and here I'm going to say error. And what should be the error? Invalid username and password. So I'm going to say invalid username or password. That's it. Fine. So let's quickly test it. So I just go to the login page and I enter this. Okay, it's not printing anything, but it's not showing the validation message. But I think this user is not registered. So let's quickly add a correct message over there, correct username, password. So this is the user that have a username, email with this name. I'm going to just enter this and the password. I think it should redirect on the. It's no, it's even not redirecting over there. Let me quickly check what the issue. It's not printing anything. Okay, and the login. Okay, we have business messages as well. That's fine. Email is the name. Let's quickly verify the name as well. Okay, we have a form division input. Okay, for the four. Actually, this is not a spring form binding, so that's why this is creating a problem. Let me quickly do that, so it will be easy to understand over here. So what can we do for it? We quickly go to the registration, and into the registration we have this simple SF form. So I'm going to use this, and now I'm going to implement this tag libs and the JSTL things as well. So go to the welcome login page. I'm going to add some SF forms, and do we have an email field here? Yes, we have this. So I'm going to just copy this binded email and going to copy here because we are going to use the same field. So under the form section, into the email input, I'm going to put this, right? That's it. And as a form as well, we need a SF form, and we are going to close it as well. SF. Is it correct syntax? Yeah, that's correct. So we have email binding now, and let's quickly search for the password. Okay, here we have password as a binded. Let me quickly go for the password as well. So we are going to bind a password here under this form. And do we have button in this format? Okay, that's it. So I think now it's binded. And let me quickly change the delay. Okay, we need to remove this. This will not required for now. Fine. Okay, we have done almost all the changes. Let's all this. If the form is pretty and hit. Okay, now it's showing this validation as well that we have implemented by the binding, and that's good. And now when I enter a wrong username, let's say this field is disabled for now. Let me quickly check it. Where we go in the email, we have a read only true, so just remove it. So if we are going to add this read only true, it means the field will be disabled. Otherwise, it will be enabled. That's common thing. So I just go here and I enter this. So it's showing me nothing as a validation message, but we are still implementing this business.jsp here. And let's quickly check with the correct email. It might redirecting on the welcome page. So it's not doing anything. So while you're working with real-time projects, you will also face this kind of issue. So now I will go show you how can you track these things like why the error is coming over there. So how can we do that? Just now we are going to decode the thing. So we are redirecting this user over the auth section. Okay. If I go here into the login controller, we have this auth section. We are calling the post method. So first thing we need to verify, are we getting the data here? Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this user and going to print it and check into my console. Are we getting the data here? So now we are trying to find the problem. Where is the problem? So user, but it will not print the exact value. I will show you how we can do that. So if everything is fine, then if is there any error, it will say return to the login and show the validation message. Otherwise, it will take information from the form.gto and print that value here, but it's not send the data over there. So let's quickly rerun it and with correct password, email and password. I have just done the execution and now I will check the console. So it's not returning any value here. So we didn't find this user into my console. It means the code is not coming. The controller is not coming here. Okay, so quickly let me do this. I'm just going to keep it here and another check into this else part. Okay, And this time, let's see what the result we are getting in the console. So, okay, we are getting one object as a user. So you can see the object is coming in this form. So what we can do, we can just create a toString method in our DTO. So it will give the exact value. How can you do that? Let's quickly check it. So DTO, user DTO, right click here into this user DTO, right click, go to generate source and getter and setter. Sorry, we have already getter and setter. Again, go to the source and generate toString. Select all the fields, print it. That's fine. So now let's quickly submit the form again and check what we are getting. We are getting all the values here. Email is coming and the password is coming, but it's coming before the else. The user one is not printed. So something went wrong here in this condition. So what we can do now, if there is an error, then it will redirect here, else it will print. The code is correct. I don't know why it's doing this thing. Okay, let's say we don't need to check the validation over here. We are directly keep the validation. So let's directly print it. So what I'm going to say, I'm just going to remove this check. Okay, and I'm done. I'm going to directly print this message. So now if I submit this, so it's printing user as well as user one, and it's redirect to the auth as well. It means it's redirecting over the welcome page and this saying this is the welcome page and coming after login, right? And now if I hit the login button and enter some random number and wrong password, so it say it should be a Gmail format. So okay, I just enter email. So it's showing an invalid username password. Even I'm going to print any blank data, so we don't need to verify the checks over there. It will say the email is required, password is required, and invalid username and the password over there. Okay, this time it was changes into the login, correct one. So hope you have understand this thing. And while you are getting the issue, always try to debug the code. Just keep in a practice that will really help to solve you the real time problem. And these sessions that I'm recording here, that does not pre-build a project so that I can use that code and show you. I'm developing on a real time, so there might be a long sessions because we are solving the problem, we are debugging the code, we are problem solving the problem in the real time. So it might take time, and it will really help you to understand the real time problems that you get while you working on any project. Okay, so what you have learned today, you have learned how can we print the objects over here in this format, how can we create two strings things, how can we debug the code in case of an error. So now our welcome is working, like our login is working fine. But if you notice here, I just logged in here, but it's still the login and these things are showing to me. So how can we manage this thing? How can we use the different headers here? So for that, just go to the header section. Let me check if I have this code. When I move to the header section, what I can see, I have different type of user sessions over here. Okay, session is scope, but I didn't create any session into the from the controller side. So what we can do, let's quickly create a session. Okay, so where we have to create the session, we have to create session into the login controller only here. Okay, how can we create the session? Just call HTTP session HTTP session no, and keep it in the name of the session. Running result is okay. Now what we are going to do here, if user is not null, it means the user is not null, means the user is logged in successfully. In that case, it will create a user session. So with the session dot get attribute, and what should be the name? Okay, sorry. Here I'm going to set the session. So it will be set attribute, and what will be the name? User. Let's say I'm just keeping a user, and what I need to put here, the user DTO. In the session, we are going to add the value of this user. And now where this will be imported, or you can say we can get these values, we can get it anywhere. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give it the return as a user DTO. So session will create. We have to typecast it here as a user DTO. That's fine. And I'm going to give it a name as a user DTO. Okay, what's the issue? Cannot cast void to. Okay, just set the session and we can check the scope here with the name of user here into our register into the header section. Into the header section, we have if role is admin, then it will display here. If nothing is there, so we are keeping a condition here. If session scope dot user equals to null, then it will show sign up login. And if there is a user role is admin, and then uh, in that case, it will display other things. If it is a user, then it will display other things. So I'm going to reduce this code first. We don't need that much. That I think I have copied from in my previous project. So I'm just going to remove this in case of admin and in case of user. So in case of user, it will display only home. Okay, apart from that, all the things I'm going to remove. Okay, just keep this just keep this logout option. Not this much. Let's remove this. Is it fine? Yeah. If session is not null, then it will display the logout option. Okay, and it should be display the home as well to the user. So I'm going to copy this home thing out there for the user section. So it will display the home as well. Let's quickly check. Okay, we have to log in. Okay, now we have some error. So it's showing property binding errors 3. Okay, into the auth. We are not redirecting to the auth now. Go to the login, sign in. So we are getting error here. It says form on field phone number. Okay, now currently what happening? We are throwing an issue over there. So let me quickly pass this session DTO. And where is that? Sorry, it's in login. Okay, it's in the login controller. Okay, let's quickly print this DTO first, and let's understand what's the issue we are facing over here. sysout, and we are calling this user DTO and check this. Okay, now quickly go to login page. Fine, you are getting this. That's fine. Okay, I think again we have to change the position for this. I don't know why it's getting the problem in the last session also I faced this, but I think it should solve now. Okay. Okay, just keep in a mind what I observe. The issue is solved now. What I observe, whatever the model attributes you are creating here, after the model attribute, only you have to bind the results. And after that, you have to add the other parameters over there. So it might be getting the next parameter. Okay, so now if you see, I'm going to log out first. Okay, logout is not implemented yet. So let me restart it. Restart the server and everything is working fine now, I guess. So I come here, the bug checking, restart my project. And when I run this Java application, why I have restarted? Because we have created the session, so every time it keep logged in. Okay, we didn't write a code to invalidate that. And so now if I refresh this, okay, now we have two options, sign up and login. So I'm going to just log in with a valid user, the username and the password. And let's first sign as an invalid user. So it's showing me error as an invalid user and password. But if I use the correct one, this is the correct one, it's sign in. And now if you see, it's not showing values for sign up and login options because it's logged in and we have hide that option. And also we are getting home 2 times. Why? Let's check into the header. Go to the header section and we are saying we are adding this home extra. Just remove this and this home will display for the, let's understand now the header code. Okay, this home will be display for all the options where if admin login, user login, anyone login, we didn't have any check here, so it will always display over there. Now if user is null, it means not no one is logged in over there. In that case it will display sign up and login option. In case if there is a admin is logged in, user role equals to admin. In that case, we have to display some option. We can manipulate this thing. Let's say I'm going to add one thing over here. Let's say I'm going to log in as an admin. And I can say admin. And here for the user, I can say one field as a user. This is not, I'm just adding this for a dummy purpose. We'll remove in a while. I want to show you the exact thing. So in case of admin login, it will say admin. In case of user login, it will display user. And in case of no one is logged in, like if someone is logged in over there, user or admin, anyone, if someone is logged in, then it will display the logout option that is a mandatory. So if no one is logged in, it will not display anything. It will display sign up and login if it goes to null. And then if there is a session with some user, it will display the logout. That's good. Now, if you notice here into the user table, we have one field with a name as a username. So let's say I'm going to update it, one of them as an admin. So now we'll check this option. So hope you will understand how we are manipulating the headers over there. So I'm going to just log in with this user and check is that admin or not. So if I refresh this, it's showing me a user. I just go to the home page. Okay, logout is not implemented. I think I have to reach. Can we quickly, before checking this, we can quickly implement the logout. So for that, we don't need to do anything. Just I'm going to create a logout controller. For the logout, just create a simple logout CTL. Okay, and this I'm going to use it as a controller, and we are going to keep a get mapping, and what will be the mapping? Mapping will be logout. If there is a logout request, then what we need to do? We need to do public string logout. Okay, and it will be written on the after logout where we need to redirect the user on the login page itself. Okay, and here what we can do, uh, into the login we have this thing, so I'm just going to just copy this. HTTP session and model we need. Okay, so we need a HTTP session and model as a parameter. And what we are going to do, we are going to do session user DTO, we are going to get the information of the user right here. So user DTO, and we can say UDTO equals to session dot, sorry, it should be a session dot get attribute. And what was the name of our session? That was user, and we have to typecast it. So user DTO, right? That's fine. So here, in at the time of login, here we are going to set a session, right? We are going to set a session with a name of user. And here at the time of logout, we are going to get that session. And what we are going to do, we are going to do session dot invalidate. Okay, we are going to session dot invalidate. So we are going to invalidate the session. Also, we can keep this information, like we have this information. So we can say sys out, we can use this user DTO. So we can identify which user is going to log out. So let's say I'm going to the log out, just log out the user. So we can say UDTO and dot get username, get username we have not, we have to first name. Okay, let's say I'm going to print as first name. First name is just log out. So in this way, we can get the value from the session as well. Okay, I think that's fine. And when we need to call this, when user will click on the logout. And where is the logout we have defined? We have defined the logout in our header section. So if I go to the header section, you can see we are already calling this as a logout. That's it. That's the same thing. So now it's implemented correctly. I go here and I just refresh it. Now it's showing login. So I'm going to log in here, and you can say this is the user. It's showing the user page and welcome the user. And I just click on the logout. Oh, there is an error. Something went wrong. What is that? Okay, just to understand why it's failing. No, there is no clue. Do we have any clue here on the login address and JSP including neither binding or pen target for the object form available for the request attribute? Okay, so what you understand? We have to add a form binding over there. So what is the form binding? We are using this. The same thing we are going to use there as well. So we need this parameter as well. I'm going to just copy it, the same. That's it. And now if I refresh this, let's say null. I just go login, logged in with this user, click on logout, and it's logged out successfully. Okay. Okay, so next thing, but it's not showing any message. User is logged out. So what we can do for that? We can add a message. So let's say model dot model dot add attribute, model dot add attribute. Let's say success, and we can say the message as a logout successful, successful. Also, if you check the console, it's printing that message. The username Vivin is that is here. Vivin is just log out, and that is the only user by which we will log in. The username was Vivin, the first name. Okay, so now the logout should work perfectly. I just go here, log in with this user, click to the logout, and you can say logout successfully. So logout is also done. And now let's log in as an admin. So now we can log in as an admin. So this is our admin user. So let's keep it quickly simple. So admin at the rate gmail.com will be our admin. And let's say this is the user. So I can say user at the rate gmail.com will be your user. So I just apply finish. Okay. So now we have two users, admin and user. So let's log in as an admin. Admin password admin. Yeah. So it's showing admin. So admin is logged in because it's showing this because that while you click on this, it's redirecting to the registration page because the link is there. We can remove it. Let's quickly do it. The registration side. Okay, into the header section. Into the header section, we have this registration. Just keep it as. Currently, we don't have anything for this. Okay. So if I log out again, I say log out successfully. If admin login, it will redirect to the admin. If I'm going to log in as a user, it will display the user page. So we are manipulating the header according to the user role. Okay, we are using same login page, but when we log in as a different types of user, it's showing us a different thing. Also, by the session, we can track the user information on the JSP page as well. So we can identify which user is correctly logged in. Currently, I know the user is logged in, but I don't know of which user is logged in. So how can we implement that things? Let's quickly continue in this in this session only. So into the header, we have this user. We have this session scope here. So what I can do, I can use this session scope to print the username. So here into the welcome page, let's move to the welcome page. Okay, we are going to display that information on the welcome page. So into the welcome page, I went to the welcome page, and in this welcome page, I'm going to print H3, let's say. Into the H3, I'm going to print this. And here I need to pass the exact parameter that we are using in our DTO. So user dot where is the user DTO? There it is. So we are going to call this first name. Okay, we were on the welcome, right? First name. Okay, so for the user's first name, we can print like this. Okay, you can see the grant. We can display messages. Hey, welcome, and the user. We will say, hi, welcome. Okay, and similarly, I'm going to just log out. Okay, my battery is going to be down. Okay, so if I log in as an admin user, then it will display this name. What is the name of this admin user? It is the first name is Molly. So it's saying, hi, welcome Molly. So I think that's it for today, and we have done many things. We have done with login, we have done with the logout, we have done with the header manipulations, like how can we display the different options over the header. So till now, we have done this much part, and now what in this session we are going to implement. So we are going to display one option here as a user. So our admin can add a new user as well. Also, admin can check the list of the user that is available into the database. And after that, we'll continue it with edit and delete option for the user. So let's quickly move into the Eclipse and do the necessary changes. First thing, we have to change some design things over here. So what we are going to do, we are going to add an option here, add user and user list. So how can we do that? So we have created one file over there as a header.jsp. So into this header.jsp, because this is the part of the header, so we have added also, we have added the conditions like when admin will log in, what option we need to show. So that's a if we have this condition here. If admin is the user role is admin, then what option we need to show. So we need to show the admin. So but now we have to show the add user. Okay, we can also implement a drop down option here. So let me quickly do it. How can we do that? So quickly, let me take help from the Google. I can just go to drop down header. We can search here header menu drop down and bootstrap. So if you check this, the first line, no, we don't need a drop downs. We need a header option. Let's say header into bootstrap. So the right keyword is most important while you're working on. So the bootstrap will give us a template, a designing template. So let's say we have some uh, let me search the correct thing that we need, and then I will explain you what is that. It's not there. The step header, the step info. No, it's not there. We can create a custom as well, but it will take a lot of time. So I just want search it over the internet. Header menu with sub menu, default step. So navbar. Okay, we can say it navbar, right? So if we want something like this drop down, so I'm going to copy this code, this much code. This only I need all, and I'm going to replace it with this li. So Control Shift F to format it, and I again save it. And here what I need this message, like add user. So I'm going to add this here. Let's say the drop down name will be user, the top name that you're going to say user section, we can say user. And here we have two options here. The first element is start from here, then it says the action and another action and something else if you want. So let me quickly draw it, remove this one as well, and we need only anchor tag over there. That's fine. So we can say add user. Under the user, we have two options. One is to add user and another is to show the user list. So another thing we need this thing. This will take the like path of the application, the root path of the application, and after that we'll add the API calls. So this is a common thing. And what this page context dot request context path is doing here, it will take the path like while we click, the user will click on this user list or add user, where exactly this URL will redirect. So it will give the complete path, the base path of the application. So this is the base path, localhost 8080, and then we will call our APIs over there. So this will give us a path. Okay, we have two things. That's nice. And now we can remove this thing. We don't need this much. That's it. Okay, so when I continue showing me error, okay, fine. What is the error? Read it. Okay, some CSS are creating problem into the header section, not found. Okay, let me check what CSS. Okay, it's automatically adding. I don't know why I removed it many times. But let me remove it again. Okay, I just removed that. And now if I refresh this, it will work fine. Okay, so I have logged in as an admin, right? Let me log in as an admin first, then we'll see the option. So we have this user as admin. So I just enter admin and the password is this. I'm gonna enter this password here. Let's do the sign in. But still that option is not showing. Let me show why. And we have user section. Okay, user role is admin, that's fine. And this user, it's gone false. Okay, I think we are using different options showing, but it's not visible because we are using different template over there. So we have to do some changes here. What do we need? Under the navbar, we can define this CSS over there. We need a light navbar. So let me do it quickly as well. We go into the navbar section here. I'm going to change the okay. Hey, this is the same one, I guess. Uh, Okay, from somewhere it's taking black. Let me check. Okay, how can you identify from where this color is coming? So you can go just to the inspect element and just select this option over there, and you can see we have this CSS. No, to do this. I think we have some external CSS here into the layout section. Let me check. And we have here static services.style.css. Let me remove this. Might getting okay. It's showing home only. User is there, but it's not visible. And as a header section, what we can do is background blank and import date. This is the thing that we need to remove. All right. Yeah. Style says, okay, we are adding a extra CSS into this navbar text. So let me remove it quickly. That's removed now. It should display these. Yes, it's displaying, but the other sections are not displaying because there might be another CSS. We are saying the color should be white. So let me remove this one as well. From here, another tag is a home. Right? Is it gone? Yeah, it's gone, but home is not showing. So let's search quickly the home. And here might we are using the same kind of things like we are applying some CSS to change the thing. So it's not there. Is there any another home? Yeah, here we have, and we have a style as well as a color bar. So just remove it. Yeah. So we have a home here. We have add user. We have a user list. But currently it's not redirecting anywhere. So what we can do, we can pass our correct API calls. So if we go to the user control section, and here we have a user control section where we have one page as a registration. So when we call this, it will automatically redirect it to this registration page, and we have already created that registration page over there. Okay, so I just again move to the same home header page, header file, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to let's register. So when user will click, it will redirect over there. So I just refresh it again. I go there, I click over here. So now it's redirecting over the registration form. That's fine. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to, when user will click on the user list, it should be redirected over the user list. First thing, we have to create a JSP file under the body fragment and with a name as we can say. it should be user list. Generally, I keep all the name as a view. So what I take, the better way, proper way to do the things is we can add the view here, and this is the list. So I will keep at the end as a last. And what, so the name is defining what kind of list is that. This file will display the user list and the tag, and what kind of file is that? It's a view file. Okay, it's front end file. So I just keep in this way, and let's say I just click on the OK. So we have this file. Now we have what we have to do. I already teased this thing to you, how we can create tiles.xml and why we are using tiles.xml. So if you don't know, just watch the previous video. In this tiles.xml, just define this entry of the new JSP file. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give as a name, as a comment name, as a user list view, we can say. And here I'm going to say name as a user, what we can say, simple user list. And the page title will be user list. And where is the exact path of this file? So we have user list view here, and I'm going to replace this location of that file. So just to recap, when we call this variable as a definition variable as a user list, it will call this file. Okay, so where we are going to call this, we are going to call this into the our controller section. So let's quickly go over there, and we have user controller, and here let me create quickly our list. And what kind of request was it? It will be get request. So I'm going to say get mapping, and we can say we are what file we are going to call. We are going to call a user list. Okay, this is the thing that we will call from the URL. Okay, and then we can say public a string list, simple list. What this file is going to say, this is going to return on this page. Okay, when user will click, it will return on this page that we have created into the JSTL. We have defined the definition of this into the JSTL already. Now, another thing, we have to add a form tag over there. So I'm going to do this, like what kind of form will be there, or data form will be there. So it will be a type of the user form. Okay, now another thing, what we need a model that will send our response. So what I'm going to create, I'm going to create a model here. Model, we can say model. This is one. Create just this thing. Uh, so I'm just remove the necessary package, unused package from my file. Okay, all good. And here into the list, what we have now, we have written as a model dot list, model dot add attribute, but add attributes this one, and the name will be list, and here we will pass the list. Okay, currently I'm just defining it as a null, and we have to create a service as well to display the record here to get the record from database. So I just create an object of list. What kind of list will be that? That will be type of user DTO, and I'm going to name it as a list, and currently I'm passing this one null. Later I will implement this code. Just so here we can add a comment. As a proper coder, you have to programmer, you have to write the comment for each table. You should write the comment for each methods that will define the information of the application, this method. So what kind of method is that? Get user list, get user list from service, from service. So we are calling this from service class. So now we are going to move into the service section. So into the service section, what we have a user now, that is our database object. So here from this database table object, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a method here that will return a list. What kind of list we need? We need a user DTO. We need a type of user type DTO, and name will be list again. And this going to return our list. So from where we will get this list, we will get this list from this user DAO. So I can say user DAO dot find all. It means all the data that is available in this user DAO, user DTO that should be come over there. So this is predefined methods over there. And the DAO section, we didn't define this method. This is a beauty of JPA, where we can directly, we have multiple methods over there that we can call according to the need required. Let me explain you some quickly some uh, important methods like count. We can use find all, find by page, some find by email and password. These are the custom methods that we have created over there. And update is there, delete is there. So many methods are there. We can directly call them and implement the things. So we have a user list, find all. That's it. Now that this is implemented, now hope the error is gone now into the user. Okay, we didn't implement it. So here, what we can do now? Now instead of null, we can say from where we are calling it. We are calling it from the user service. So user service dot, we can say list we need. Okay, we have just defined this, and there is some compatibility issue, I guess. So what we can do? Okay, we can give it a try catch over there. Okay, yeah, we can say list equals to null, and then we can define it like this. Okay, sorry, we need to call this user service. We are just calling the object, so this should be a static if in this way we want it. Okay, so we are defining is a list, and then we are going to set model attribute, and we can add this model attribute here as well, but it's not required. I think it should be outside of the try batch, try clock. It's returning to the user list package. So I think we are ready from to this name should be list from the service side and from the controller side. Also, we can add a comment here into the user section. What this method is doing here, get user list from doc that access object, right? And that's it. So just move now into the header section. And into the first, we have to show this thing into our user list. Let's say for a dummy purpose, I'm just adding a message here, h1. It's a user list, okay, and let's define the variable over there, the API call that we want to call. So what we have defined user list over there. Let me confirm it once. So this name is user list, right? The exact name you have to pass here to the header section. Now let's refresh the code. It's auto refresh. Let me run the application. So okay, we have to add one link here as well. When I click on the home, over the home page also it's showing some CSS issue. We will solve that in some next session, or quickly we can solve it. So if I go into the header again, okay, and we can say somewhere without, if everything is, no one is logged in. In that case, it's showing the header option equals to null. Then, okay, here we have a style. We can remove these styles. Actually, this is the old code, so I'm just using a template over there. So I just change it. Okay, now it's showing. So if I go to the admin side, login as an admin, and here I can say add user, and here I can say user list. So now it's showing me the user list, but it's not getting the data, right? So let me implement some code here because we didn't implement anything. That's why it's not showing any data over there. So we need a table template. So I have code already for this. So I'm just going to copy it and I will explain you all the things what we are doing over there. The first thing, we are going to implement the JSTL libraries and some other important libraries over there that will help us to get the data. So it's just copy paste code you need to do. You can at the top of the file, you can implement these libraries over there here. So I'm going to just add those libraries from the internet. So this will help us to create the get the data. It will include the JSTL libraries in your front end page. And after that, what we need this table. Also, we are going to include this message. It will require later when we are going to work with other tools like uh, with other options like edit and delete options. Okay, so here let me just copy this between the body section, and it says we need a table. Okay, the name will be user list. We can remove over one that we have created this. Okay, now if you know the basic HTML, you will easily understand this code. And if you are learning the Spring Boot project development, I am hoping you have this basic knowledge how can we why we are creating this, how we create the tables and how the things are displaying over there. So here we have first name, last name as a table heading. So what this name should be, what we need to show over there. So we have this fields into our database into the user detail as well. So basically, we can come to the user detail and we can check what fields we have. So we have first name. That's fine. We can keep it. We don't need to change the first name. Last name is there. Email, phone number is there. Apart from that, we have a DOB, gender, and other things. So let me verify. Last name is there. DOB action is there. Okay, that's fine. We can display this much thing first name, and here this is the list that is coming from the model controller, okay, as a response. So if you go here into the user controller, what we are returning here, we are returning this list with a name at a model attribute as a list. It means this list will contain all the information of the user uh, that is coming from the user table, and this is the name by which we can access it. So here into the user list, we are creating a for each loop, and we are passing as an item variable that list, and we are going to fetching all the result one by one as a sub variable li. So li dot first name, li dot last name. But make sure this first name, last name, email, these variables should be matched with your DTO. Like even if you notice here, the name, that naming conversion, all the things are we are using same here. If we do some mistakes, it will change the things. After that, on the user operation, we will call the like if after that under the action tag we have action column, we have edit option and delete option. So here we can pass this thing. So user edit API we will call it. We will create them later in some upcoming sessions, I guess. So I think it's done. And so this for each loop will iterate uh, the columns. Rows of that complete list and the element of the list, and each element will contain the information of the user. A single object will be there. So when I click on the user list, okay, it's showing me an error. So just quickly let me check what is the user error. So I am like solving the error also in a real time. So it will help you also to compile the code, and like how can you compile the code, how can you dig into that, and how can you find out the solution for that. So the best says page directive must not no have multiple occurrence of page encoding. This is a new for me. Okay, let me quickly do one thing. What we are doing, we have this page, and I'm going to copy this complete page here because some pagination issues is there. So I'm going to do this. If it will solve the problem, that's great thing. Otherwise, we will do some more changes. Okay, that's good. So it's taking, there was some mistake related to the takes and that we are using. So I have just added the exact cake code over there, and let me remove some variables from there. So what we don't need this S form. This is we are using for the search. I will explain this thing later and implement this thing later. And till now we have this text. So we have same code over there. We have added the JSTL libraries. We have added one tag here, h2 tag under the container. What we are doing to do, we are going to define a user list as a heading, and then first name, last name, email, phone number, action, and we are calling our DTOs, and this list contain all the information of that is coming from the database, and then we are calling these APIs to edit and delete the data. Okay, so if I refresh it again, it will say this data. But this is the data. You can match the data. Like this is the admin user. This is the admin user. Okay, we can type the types of user as well over there. So we are just showing the Molly is admin user. So if you see, Molly is the admin user. So this user should not be displayed over there because it's admin. We can display the user role as well. So we have column as a user role. So let me quickly implement this. So this table will display the user role as well. So before DOV, I'm going to add another HT, another TH, and this will be going to a user type. You can say user type or user role. And after that, we are going to implement this li dot, you can say it will be user load. I can write it without verifying because I know which format I'm following. So if you're following the same format, you can keep it. Otherwise, this name that you are adding here, make sure this same name is available into the user DTO with this same naming conversion. So if I refresh this, I can see it now here. Hi, what more I can do it here? I can create a check over there. If the user is admin, then it should not be displayed. And if the user is not admin, then it should be display all the users information. Okay, so from where we can add these checks, we can add the checks from the backend, and then I will teach you in the next video probably. And after that, we will implement the edit and delete operation. So till now, what we have done, we have created a application. Also, it's showing up in white color. So we have created a simple application that can register the users, that can log into the users, and then we are adding the user as an admin user, and the list will be displayed over here. Okay, and one surprise, one thing I'm going to show you here. If you notice here, we have implemented one check over there. If user will log in, this user information that we just implemented will should not be displayed over there. So I just log in now as a user. This is not the admin, this is the user. So here it's not showing any data to add the user or edit the user or user list. So we have added the check as well. And also there are some elements are showing over there in a white background. So quickly I will solve this issue in a free time. So I just need to remove and make some changes into the styling part. Probably I don't want to waste time over the like live. So I will do that into my free time and you will get the good design in the next video. And today in this session, first we will add a filter here. So this list only show the user list, and then we'll move to implement the edit and delete. Like edit and delete is not implemented yet. So probably in this session we will finish these things. So let's continue. So how can we filter this data? Like currently we have user type as a admin. Two types of users are there, users and admin. And I want display only users in this list. Admin should not be displayed. And we have one record as admin that is here we are getting. So quickly, how can I do that? So for that, I just go to the controller. Another user controller, we are displaying a list from here. Where is the list? Here we are displaying the list. When user will call this user list, it will be display this list. So into this, what I can do, I can implement one features here. So let's say I'm going to add a list, list dot filter. Sorry, first we have to stream it. So let's dot stream dot filter. I'm going to say list L and lambda expression L dot user role. I'm going to just adding a check over there. Oh no, I don't want to set it. I just want to add dot get user role dot equals to what is the name? What is the role type? User. That's it. So then, okay, after that we can add a collector over there. So we need to collect, and here I'm going to add a collector. Collector from the stream Now this one, collect. Uh, do we have a collector here? Yes, we have from util stream. And here I'm going to pass dot to list. So what I need to implement here, we are just going to add a filter over there. So for that, we are going to verifying the user as either the user role should be equals to this, and then we are going to collect the collectors list. Okay, so we have to put here, I mean say collectors dot to list. Okay, I want to convert it into a to list. That's fine. Okay, now we have added one filter here. This is the Java features coming from the Lambda expression. We can directly filter the data according to our requirement here. So I have added one check over there. If user role will be user, then only this list will be display. Okay, so also we can assign this value to this list that we are going to return from here. And when I go there, I refresh the page. And you can see the admin is gone now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records. And into the database also we have total 6 records. One is admin. Let's say I'm going to change this user role as an admin. Now the first record with a name of Vivin, and Vivin 2 times is there. So I'm going to remove this one, this one. So the first record should not be displayed with the name of Vivin, Vivine. Yeah, this term name should not be displayed. It's not displaying now. And I go here into the login, admin, user list. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 record only because total there are 6 record into the database and 2 are the admin. So we have added the filter directly and our returning where we are returning our list from user controller, and now it's working. Okay. So our next task to continue this session is we have to implement the edit option. Okay, so how can we implement that our edit option? Let's say this user click on this edit button and it's going to return on the user edit and the ID is 6. Okay, from where this data is coming? This is coming from header section. I will show you. Just wait. The body section, header section. No, it's not coming from the header section. It's coming from the user view list. So in the user based list, in the last session, we have implemented this user list and passing the ID of that particular record while click on this edit button. Similarly, we are calling a user delete when passing that ID of that user record. So now we have to implement this user edit in our database. So how this process will work for the edit operation, when user will click on this edit button, the record, the form will be redirected to this add user, and whatever the data for that user we have here, the data should be displayed here, and then user will update the records, then it will be updated. So how can we do that quickly? So I just go to our user controller, and here I'm going to create another get mapping, and here I'm going to pass this user edit that we are calling here. And now, okay, sorry, I have to define the name as well. The name will be, we have to define a method here. We have just defined the get mapping, and after that we are going to create a public string update method, update that. And here we are going to use the same form and models. So I'm going to just use it. Also, it will take a input as a request param. Okay, so I'm going to say add request param, and what is the name of that parameter is ID, and it will be a ID over there. Okay, something is wrong. Let me check here. We are passing this ID, so we have to get this ID into our request parameter over there. So no, what's the error? Okay, we didn't define a return type. It's fine. Now it's asking to return some. So let's say currently I'm returning return null. That's fine. Now what we need to do, we have to find out the data by this ID. So how can we find this data? First, we have to go to the service and implement the data. So I just go in my service section. In the service, we have a user service already. In the same service, we are going to implement another method that will return the information of that particular user. So public user DTO, we need a user DTO, and it will say find user by ID, or we can say just user by ID, and it will take the input parameter as a long ID. And from where we will get this? We will get this from here user dot find by ID, and we'll pass this ID here, and then this will return this DTO directly. So we can find the user information by this method. So we have this into our user service. If I move to the user controller now, so what can I do? I can say user service dot find by ID, and here I'm going to pass the user. What this method will return is will return a it will return a user DTO. I can say UDTO, right? So this user DTO will be returned into this method, and okay, now we have this user DTO. Now where we need to add this DTO into our model into the return section. So we can say model dot add attribute, and what is this? This is the user, and we have to implement the UDTO. Okay, I think everything is fine. And where we need to redirect this user, we need to redirect this user over our registration page. Okay, into the string format. Okay, I think it's fine now. And okay, we can keep like we have to check what name we are using here. So into our registration form, I think we are using beans over there. So we can say, okay, do one thing here into our user controller, we can say this is name as a bean, and here we have to populate the data. So we can say form dot populate user detail, right? And where this populate is coming and what this populate is doing, the data that is coming from this user update, when user will click on the user edit, the user information will come in the form of form, and then we are populating the data, and this data we are going to set into an object over there, and then we have all the values like first name, last name, and other values will be added over there. And after that, we have populated this bean, and then we have added this bean to the return to the registration page from here. Okay, that's nice. Now I think it should work. Let me check quickly. I just go to the login page. I log in as an admin. I go to the user list. I click on the edit. So see, it's redirecting over the page and automatically fetching the data and set the data here. Okay, so now also showing the option as a update. How we have changed this option into our registration form, we have one check over there. If form ID is greater than 0, then it will display update, otherwise it will display save option. Save option means a fresh record is going to register, so there will be ID equals to 0. But here during the update, we are updating the populate or we are populating the form, That's why the ID will be greater than 1 always. In that case, it will display update, otherwise it will display submit or save. So, but now when let's say I want to change this name, update this name, and I click extra Y over there and click on the update. It says email is already registered because, and it's not updating the data because while we adding the data, we are submitting the request to this add form where this add user. So in this add user also we have to make some changes. Let's say here we have add user where we are going to add the data. Here I'm going to add one condition if form dot get id is greater than 0, then we have to update the record. Otherwise, we have to save the record. Okay, so I just added that save condition in else part, and here we are going to write the code for the update user. Okay, and here we are going to implement the add user. Now, to update the user also, we have to implement the method into the service class and say for that, I'm going to say public user DTO, and let's say I'm going to keep it a name as update, and this will return a user DAO. Also, it will take an input as a user input on which data we need to update. So we can say user DTO dot DTO. We can name it as a DTO bean or user. It's totally depend on us. And after that, what it will return? It will return a method from user DAO to save and flush. Save and flush will update our DTO. Okay, that's fine. Now come back to the user controller, and here from this service, what is the name of service? It's a user service. We are going to call user service dot update, and what we are going to pass here. Okay, we have this user DTO from here. Okay, we can define it here. That's fine. And we are going to pass this user here this time. So what we have done, we have defined a user form dot get DTO. So we have get the information of the user from the form, and then we'll check if ID is greater than 0. Then form dot get ID equals to 0. Then we have added this user here to the update. Otherwise, it will be added to there. And also, what we can do, it's redirecting to the user page again. And we have to set the user role as well. I think we don't need to set it duplicate time. And here we can add another model. In this case, the success query will say, the success variable will say user is updated successfully. Successfully, okay? I read that. Let's try. Okay, so I'm going to log out now. Okay, yeah, I know that. So I just here, just log in as an admin. Go here, click on the user list and say now I want to add some extra Y. Click on the update. You can say user is updated successfully. Now if I check the user list, you can say it's updated. Let's say I want to change the name plot to P. I just click on the update. You can say it's updated. So now edit is working for all of them. Okay, but it's showing like while we updating the data, it's saying the user role is going to 0, like it's not showing the user role. Also, while it's showing the user list here, In this case, when I click on this, it's showing me the user which have an admin role, but the filter is not working over here. So let me quickly check what's wrong over there. So when I update the records, it's actually not updating. It's adding a new records over there. So what can I do for that? Let me quickly check this. Uh, what we can do first, I have just cleared some data from my database, and let's debug the code why we are getting this issue, why the data is not updating. Okay, so first thing, data is coming here while we're updating the data in the form of ID, and we have user DTO where we are going to pass the ID, and we are getting ID greater than because we are getting update option over there. So if I check over here and I click on the edit option, you can see we can see the update option. It means data is getting greater than, and this data we are passing from this form.id. Now, when I go to this form, sorry, over the controller, and it says form.id, we are getting this form here. Then we set this user as a form, and then we are checking if is then ID. The first thing what I can do, I can keep it here. I can just print this message as a ID. So it will clear out me why we are getting this. What is the exact ID we are getting from the database? So user.get ID, and here I just say user ID and just going to print it. Also, I don't need to set it 0 because we need to update the exact ID that is coming from the database. Okay, so I just clear my console and now I'll try to update some data. So let's say I just log in, user list, and here let's say I want to update this grant user, update. It says it's adding a new, okay, and here we have null, also showing the admin, and you can see the user ID is coming as a 0. So what we can do for that, we have to check why this user ID is coming as a 0 over there. It means it's coming as a 0. It means this condition is executing and it's adding the new records over there. So let me check the forms. We are passing the ID from here under the use. Okay, under the user form, we need to set the ID as well. So I can say dto.set ID. This ID we have defined, we don't define here, but it's available into the base GTO here. So we need to set this as well into the user form. So I set this as a DTO.set ID, and here we need to get it again. So after that only it will populate the data. Okay. So get ID. So during the populate data, it's not populating the ID. Other all the fields are populating over there. So now we are populating the ID as well. So this ID should be increased now, or it should be give a valid number, and then we are going to update it and update successfully. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, quickly do it again. What I can do, I can go to the user list. While you making changes into the controller, make sure you are creating a new session always. That will be helpful. So I'm going to update this user, let's say, and we're going to give it a meaningful name and click on update. It says this time it says user update successfully means that user is updated to and then create a new record. But if you notice, it's showing a null value over there, and the filter is not working and showing admin as well, admin record as well. So we are getting one error here. Cannot invoke this string. This object is null because these values stored into the database are null. So what we can do while we are updating the record, we can use set this value as a user, then it will not show any null value. So for the existing record, I'm going to update this into the database as well. I think it's fine now. And if I refresh this, logged in again, I will give me a good result. So now I can update it. So let's add a quickly new record first. I just add a new record with this. I just submit it. It's saying registered successfully. I can see the list here. Now I can update this record. Let's say testing update last name, and I update it. I check the user list. It's updated now. That's fine. So update is perfectly working now. You can see the IDs are now showing as a 13 user ID. So we have to check it like this. So quickly, I'm going to recap this how we have implemented this registration update option. First, user will be on the user list. Then we will call that user on this edit user edit mapping. And then when user will click on the edit button, it will be go to the user controller. And here into the user controller, we are going to find that user information by the ID, and then we'll populate the data, all the information of the user into the form, into the Spring form. Then we are sending this data back to the registration form so it can be displayed over that form. And then user will click on the update. The request will be come to again to the end user. And in this case, in case of update, the ID will be greater than 0. In that case, we are going to set the rule and we update the user information and display message as a user updated successfully. Now quickly continue the session and implement delete. So now let's implement the delete. How can we delete the records from the database? So again, we have this user delete request, and we are going to create a get mapping for this request as well. When user will click, we will click on the delete. We will call it delete service. So let's quickly move to the service first and create a delete service. So I just go here, public. We can say void because we don't want to return anything from here. Say delete, and it will take ID as a input parameter because which ID we need to update. Okay. So what we can sort of say, we can say user dot delete by ID, and I will pass my ID here. Okay, we can return the DTO as well, but for now we are learning, so just keep it simple. So delete here into the user controller, we can implement another method that is will be get mapping, and here we will call a mapping with a name as a user delete. Make sure the mapping call should be same, and we'll create a method here as a delete. Okay, we're going to pass some parameter, common parameters here. So it will be user form, model will be there, request param in request param, we will always get the ID. So from here that we are passing, just to me verify this form, this API calls user delete, and am I calling the correct one? Yes, we have correct. Now it will return a method, but before it will return some on the string. So where we need to redirect this user, we need to redirect this user to user list page. So I just return this and it is gone. And now from the user service, I need to call user service dot delete, and I pass that ID of that user that I want to delete, and then as a model what I can do, the model dot add attribute, and here I can say bean, no, not a B. I'm gonna say success, and here into this success, what I need to pass, I need to pass a message here, user is deleted. Okay, good thing that's quickly done. Now let's check the features. I'm clearing the console, go again to the user list. Okay, I just logged in here, log in as an admin, go to the user list, and let's delete this record. I just deleted it. It says user is deleted, but it's showing blank now. But you can see user is deleted. Again, if I delete this miles, it will be deleted. but while we returning after deleted, showing nothing. So what I need to show display here, I need to display some value. What is the value? We can do two things there. We can redirect the user to this user list, or we can directly copy this code. So let me quickly redirect. I can say redirect. So return to, okay, not return. Okay, for now I'm just implementing a basic thing, and later on I will show you how can we redirect user to this API again. Okay, so I'm just copying this code here, this much. That's fine. Okay, and I'm adding this code. It means after deleting, it will send a success message and it will again get the data of the user list and then filter the data and then it will display over there. This time, if I delete any record, it should display the proper data over there. So I just delete it and now it's showing the data. It's fine. We can add the data now. Let's quickly add the data. Submit. List is there. Let's edit this data. I just edit the name. Okay, it's updated. Now we can delete. So complete CRUD operation is there. For a simple CRUD operation for the project is ready. In the next session, what we are going to work, we are going to design a proper home page and then we'll check this profile option, how can we implement and update the user profiles, and then move to the bug tracking system, like adding the bugs, how can we upload the images, bugs, images, and all that things. So if you're liking the video, please, if you learning something, please subscribe the code one. We need your support to create our live projects and this kind of projects on the live environment. So you can learn from that. How can we develop this kind of applications and Spring Boot? Thank you for watching.